transformation, to help them accelerate success or accelerate the results they want in all areas of their life, whether it is their relationships, their business, their career, and their health. And I can teach it, Cheryl, because I've done it all for myself. I have transformed every area of my life. And it started, and you'll hear my story when we talk about my book, but it started by my understanding and my applying law of attraction to my life, completely turned my life around.
So for readers that are looking at this and going, I've heard of the law of attraction, but what I know is people say you throw it out there, the universe gives it back to you. So tell us truly, what does the law of attraction mean?
Okay, this is the real deal right here, truly. And so, yeah, right. A lot of people may have heard of law of attraction, but they're not sure what it is or how it works. Though I am pretty confident, Cheryl, that people are familiar with the evidence of law of attraction. So law of attraction is really just this universal energy that's all around us. It's just like the law of gravity. Law of gravity, we can't see or taste or touch gravity, but we have always known as a kid, if we dropped the fork at the dinner table, it was going to fall. Well, law of attraction is this universal energy all around us. We can't see it or taste it or touch law of attraction, but it exists. And its job is to match the feelings that you're having and the vibe that you're putting out. So an example would be when you are feeling positive and happy and joyful like we are right now, and loving and grateful, well, that feels good. We're putting out a positive vibration, and the law of attraction is going to match that like a magnet to bring us even more positive experiences. But when you are feeling cranky and ticked off and frustrated and negative and jealous, well, guess what? The law of attraction is going to give you more of that too. And I know people have had these experiences. You've had those days where you wake up a little cranky, right? Maybe you hit the snooze button a few too many times and your day gets worse and worse and worse. And the end of the day, you say, oh my gosh, I should have stayed in bed, right? And then, I've said it, you said that probably, but we've also had those wonderful days. We wake up feeling great, like we're having a wonderful time right now, and our day just gets better and better and better. And at the end of the day, we say, wow, am I ever on a roll? So all of that is just evidence of the law of attraction. You can't turn on and off law of attraction because it exists in your life at this very moment, whether you know it or understand it or not. So that's basically it.
That's so interesting that you say that, because when you think about it, right, when you're having a bad day and it just seems like everything else that happens, you're like, how could this day get any worse? And it does. It just gets worse. And you're like, I just want to go to bed, cover my head up.
And that doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? It's still there when you pull over the blankets.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. Let us say that I now understand how the law of attraction works. And so I am having this bad day. I am having this experience. How can I shift that?
So for me, and one of the tools that I really focus on in my book, one of the easiest way is gratitude. And so what I have done in the past when I have felt negative, I have taken out a yellow pad and I just write all the things that are going well for me, right? Because we're typically focused on all the things that are going wrong. Or if you don't have a pad, just build a quick little mental list in your head. You have to force yourself. That's why it's called deliberate attraction, because you have to do something deliberately. So you have to get to a point where, look, I don't feel good. This is not working out for me the way this day is going. I have to deliberately reset my vibe so I'm attracting something more. So I think that gratitude is like everything, or just stop what you're doing and go do something that does bring you joy. Pick up a friend, have a great conversation, go out into the environment, feel the fresh air, the sunshine, do something that feels good for you. And so perhaps you are familiar with Abraham Hicks. Abraham Hicks teaches, somebody that I follow in Law of Attraction,
Okay.
and she always says, you want to just reach for a better feeling thought, reach for a better feeling thought, reach for a better feeling thought. So anything that's going to make you feel better. So that's how you can, it's the fastest way to reset from a negative vibe to a positive vibe.
You know, looking at today when people are isolated, trying to figure out, how to get through these hours of the days. Now we are coming to a end of this, hopefully as we follow the guidelines, but right now in this situation, we are still in it. And so, we hear a lot about how people are trying to cope with, being at home all day with the kids and still trying to work. And, you're sharing spaces that normally you wouldn't share. You are constantly in the same environment where normally you would not be. There would be like a gap where you're gone or they're gone. And, so how can we take this book of dynamic affirmations and allow it to actually work for us even in today's time, today? How can we do that?
Okay. So what I might do, if we start at the beginning and I tell you maybe my inspiration for the book,
Absolutely.
It will lead people to what they can do. So is that okay? We'll do that?
Absolutely.
Very good. So we might want to first start with affirmations. So just like Law of Attraction, perhaps everybody's not familiar with what an affirmation is. So I'm happy to explain it unless you'd like to.
No, go right ahead. You're the author. You go ahead.
Hey, well, you and I do that. We're in the same the same teaching. So, and affirmations, for those of you who may or may not be familiar, is typically a short, positive statement that you repeat over and over to yourself to remind you of what you want to be, do, and have. And many people also use positive affirmations to replace a negative thought. So whenever you find yourself, you catch yourself going down that negative rabbit hole, you'd reach for that positive affirmation and replace it with, you'd reach for the affirmation and replace it with that negative thought that you have. So that's basically affirmations in a nutshell. And so we'll just kind of walk through my story and then we'll talk about what people can do for sure. Okay. So my book is all about personal development. And I feel like the authors that are in that lane that write about personal growth and self-help is because they have helped themselves. And they've been able to turn their experience around. And so now they write about it in hopes of helping other people who might be going through a similar situation. And so to tell you to share with you the inspiration for my book, I have to take you back a few years ago when it was the worst time in my life, right? I was a total mess. I was in the middle of a divorce. I was laid off from my job. And I was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness all at the same time. Now, Cheryl, I know that you and probably many of the folks that are watching who may watch later have experienced this or something similar to this. And so I can totally relate to people who are going through difficult times. So back to my story. I was in the middle of this experience and I was desperately looking for something to help me feel better. So I went to the bookstore and I found a box of affirmation cards.
Okay.
And I think that they were Louise Hay's affirmation cards. Are you familiar with Louise Hay's?
I'm not.
No. So she had several different programs and books that were really meaningful for me in my journey. So in this affirmation, a box of cards, I found one that read, I am healthy. I am healthy. Now, Cheryl, let me ask you a question. Would you say that that's a positive affirmation?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's short and
Mm-hmm.
it's positive, right? Now picture this. I had just completed the treatment. I am home. I'm in my bathroom being very ill.
Mm-hmm.
I had been losing my hair. I looked into my mirror, saw my positive affirmation hanging on my mirror, and I read, I am healthy. I am healthy.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
My goodness.
I
It
am. Whoa.
always comes in threes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There's a blanket bless you for you. Hope
Thank
that
you.
that was it for you. So I am repeating this positive affirmation when I'm feeling really, really sick. I am
Mm-hmm.
healthy. And then I looked at myself and I said, I am not healthy. Look at me. This stuff doesn't work. And I tossed the affirmation cards.
Mm.
Now, Cheryl, I was using positive words.
Mm-hmm.
How do you imagine that I was feeling at that time?
Oh, I'm sure during that time you weren't feeling positive.
That's right. I was
Yeah,
feeling horrible. This stuff doesn't work, right?
exactly.
I mean, here I am in this horrible situation. This stuff doesn't work. So it felt bad to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what you know of the law of attraction, what is it responding to? What is it matching?
Yeah, it's matching that negative output that you're giving.
It was not matching that negative vibration
Mm-hmm.
to give me even more of what, Cheryl?
More negativity.
More of the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
So what I learned is that positive words can have a negative vibration. Positive words can have a negative vibration. And as a matter of fact, it's what I wrote in my book. It was probably the biggest aha for me in my life is right
Mm-hmm.
here. The law of attraction doesn't respond to the words I use in my affirmation. It responds to how I feel about the words I use in my affirmation.
Mm.
And I'd like to repeat that because it's a really great learning point. The law of attraction doesn't respond to the words I use in my affirmation. It responds to how I feel about the words I use in my affirmation. So what do you think about that, Cheryl?
That is so important because oftentimes you hear people say affirmations don't work for me, right? And going by what you just said, they have to work in concert. It has to be not only the words, but it has to be the feelings. So they have to work in concert. Or it's kind of like, you know how they say ice and water, right? You have to actually allow things to work together so that they work for you, which is so interesting. So for our readers, you guys, I know you've heard of affirmations and I know you've heard of the law of attraction. So what's happening now is you actually get to delve into the true meaning behind them and how they can be very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And they can take you from a situation of, I can't, I'm not sure if I could, all of that doubt and lack of self-esteem. And it can give you that confidence. It can give you that power
Yeah.
that you truly need to be able to move forward. And that's why I love affirmations, and gratitude is something else that you mentioned, which is just enormous, even in our day and time that we're in today, to be able to wake up and know that even though there are multitudes of people dying, if you and your family are healthy, then you have something to be grateful for. So
Right.
even in the midst of this, there are still things that we have to be grateful for. So Jodi, it seems like this book actually spawned from your personal experience.
Yeah, and I'd like to share one other thing about that. So when you just mentioned like water and ice together, so your affirmation, it needs to be congruent. Your words need to be congruent with how you're feeling, Cheryl, because you might say, I am healthy, and it might feel good for you. Right? Because it's true. And today I could say, man, I am totally 100% healthy because it's true for me. Right? But Cheryl, I want to make this point. back then, to say I am healthy felt like a vibrational football field away. I couldn't get there. And I needed to take baby steps. And so if I'm using the football term, I needed to get a series of first downs to get me to the end zone in that place called healthy vibration. And so that's what my book is all about. It's all about those baby steps. It's all about the tools that I use to get me from where I was then to where I am today. And so we want to make sure that you're tweaking the words so they feel true for you.
You know, I think that's so important because, you know, a lot of times you have the knowledge, but I always say knowledge is great, but applied knowledge is what's actually effective and which changes the game and, you know, allows you to shift your situation or shift your mindset or whatever it is that needs to take place in order for you to be able to move forward to that road of being successful in whatever your definition of success is. And so when you talked about the power of words, because in my mind, that's what affirmations are. It is the power that you get from the words that you say repeatedly. And I think that's another piece, if you could talk about that too, is, you know, you can say an affirmation on Monday, right? And then you don't repeat it again until like Wednesday and you go, oh, my affirmation. Yeah, I'll say it now. So how effective is it when you use it in the manner that you show people in the book?
Yeah. So first of all, you can't get from where you are now to where you want to be without taking action, right? And it has to be deliberate. So that is my word forever, is taking deliberate action. And I felt so bad that I had nowhere else to go. I knew that I needed to be deliberate about this law of attraction. So if you have an affirmation, like let's you know, today in today's time, if somebody is home and they are now unemployed, looking at an affirmation, hanging it on their mirror that says, I am wealthy, right? Like that's not going to get it for them. And so create an affirmation that feels true for you. And something that I always love when I'm feeling negative, for any reason, or I'm feeling doubtful, something that I love to say to myself is, you know what? Lots can happen. Can lots happen, Cheryl?
Absolutely.
I mean, lots can happen in 5 minutes. Would that be true? So
absolutely.
Lots can happen. You never know where things are going to come from. And that's like the business that you alluded to earlier with my husband. But I want to stay here because I want to make sure that hopefully we're helping some people. And so you find something that feels better for you. You know, I'm in this situation, but I know that lots can happen. And lots of good things do come to me in my life. Is that true? Go back and find the proof when, you know, where you were feeling down and now that wonderful things happen to you. Write your affirmation on a card. Right? Carry the card with you, put it in a picture frame on your desk. You can record it on your phone and play it over and over and over. You can even have it playing all night back to you. So it's just that important. How bad do you want change? How bad do you want to feel better? It really takes being deliberate. And, you know, there's one thing that I totally stand against, Cheryl, and that is people feeling stuck. When they feel stuck, they don't know what next step to take, when they don't know where to turn. And what I would really like everybody to realize is that hopefully if you're in a difficult situation, that this is just a temporary situation for you, hopefully. And what I don't want you, and you know, here's the thing, bad things happen to good people. Right? I mean, it happens to all of us. You and I teach this positive stuff and bad things still happen to us.
Absolutely.
The point is, how are you going to respond? So recognize that this is a temporary situation, but what I don't want you to do, what we say is to build a condominium there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to get stuck and stay there. And you know, when I was going through the really terrible time in my life, boy, I stayed in my pity party for a long time, and it felt good in my pity party. And I was blaming other people and complaining all about my life. That's when I learned Jack Canfield's principle about taking responsibility for your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned about the law of attraction, that if I stayed in that state, I was only going to attract more of that experience. And it was just keeping me sicker and sicker and sicker. So you have to be deliberate. And so we have already talked about some tools. So maybe some positive affirmations would be, I wrote down a couple. Like for me, when you talked about maybe if you don't have a job, but you are probably still grateful that you and your family are healthy. So it could be, you know, I am happy and thankful and grateful that my family and I are well, right? Or I am, you know, I am enjoying spending time with my family. See if you can look for the silver linings. And look, it's not that easy, but you have to do these things if you want to change that energy in your life. So just find an affirmation that feels good for you. Keep it short so that you can repeat it, put it in a picture frame, carry it with you. Hey, lots can happen. I know things can turn around for me for the better. And look at what's happening in the world. Look at so many innovators. Look at what
Absolutely.
you've been doing with the author's lane. You never thought you would be sitting home and doing this, finding another way, right? So keep the hope, keep the faith, ask people for help, right? Get the tools, get the books, watch the recordings, you know, just do what you need to do to be deliberate. And we talked about another tool is definitely gratitude. You know, maybe start your morning. What's really powerful me, Cheryl, every morning I start my morning with my gratitude book, and I just list 10 things that I'm grateful for.
There you go.
Right? Maybe I'll do a little visualization, but what it does is it primes me for my day, and so that I start off on a positive way. So there's a lot of things that people can do. Don't build a condominium in stuckness.
There you go. You know, it's great to hear that there's a way.
There's a way.
There's a way for you to
Yes.
move beyond your circumstances, because I think a lot of times some people feel stuck.
Yeah.
Because you feel as though, you know, nobody's listening to you, nobody is hearing you, you know, everybody has all of these different opinions, and here it is, you need something to hold on to for you.
Right.
Something
Like
that
I said, when I
allows
went to the
you.
bookstore and I was so desperate for anything to help me feel better. So go find some positive motivation books. Go find, right? Just fill your head with positivity. It's your job to do that. Look, nobody's responsible for you but you. And you can
Exactly.
do it. Just fill your head with positivity. And I have completely turned my life around. Today, I mean, I went from a life-threatening illness that supposedly has no cure, and today it's undetectable. So I am like totally 100% healthy.
Wow,
I
congratulations.
had been going through a divorce, and today I'm happily married. Have you met Tony? I don't think you
I
met
haven't,
Tony.
but I've seen many pictures on Facebook.
Yeah. He's my bald guy, and I think this is the first night, our first date, and right, it was like love at first sight. And then also, I'm so happy and fulfilled that I get to help you. That, like, look at what you and I are doing, and I hope that it's helping somebody. I feel so fulfilled that I get to help people create and experience transformation. So yes,
you know, this is a huge opportunity, guys. If you are, you know, going, wow, I need a tool, I need something to help me get my mind straight, I need words that will allow me to regain my power, I need feelings that will allow me to get up in the morning and know that there is something for me to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity for you to do that. Now, Jodi, your book, Dynamic Affirmations, is available on Amazon.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yep.
guys, you can get it on Amazon. Yay! You can get this book on Amazon. You can get this. You know, I was doing a presentation one time, and I handed out a sheet on affirmations. And several months later, I got a response from someone that said, you know what, my daughter, she's 16, she found this sheet of paper on the table that I took from your presentation, and she took it and put it in her bathroom, and she wrote her own affirmations, and every morning she's in the bathroom reciting her information, you know, her affirmations. So, I mean, it's powerful, even for teenagers, for students that are having a hard time, especially now that they're in the house, they don't have their friends. You know, what positive pieces can we help them by giving them something that's going to allow them to be able to continue to feel good and strong? And that's what we want now. We want that strength. We want the strength back. And this is an opportunity to do this. So you need to get this book. Jodi, you have been so open and just so inspirational for us. I didn't even ask you all the questions because you answered them in your sharing your life story on how affirmations brought you from a place of feeling sorry for yourself to a place of realizing how grateful you are at the life that you have now, operating on purpose.
Yeah, and I'd like to just add something to that. So you and I have both been down and out in Beverly Hills, right? Or down and out in Florida, both of us. And we both have turned our life around. And, but here's the point I want to make that some people think, oh, I'm repeating this affirmation every day, even though it feels true for them, it's congruent, it's a match for them. And then they're feeling, oh, but you know, I don't see anything changing. But what happens is, as you start to repeat yourself with these positive statements that feel good for you, or as you start writing in your gratitude journal, or even building a quick little mental list in your head, or as you start, you know, listening to a motivational podcast, what happens is slowly you're going to tip the scales. So now you are putting out more positive energy, and you will be attracting more positive energy into your life. So we want to just keep on working on that. You just, you know, I think life is a series of resets. Something's got you down, we need to reset. Something's got you down, let's reset. So whenever you notice that you're feeling negative, you need to reset by focusing on something more positive in your life.
There you go. And know that change comes over time. It doesn't happen in one day. I always say we are constantly becoming who we are meant to be. So it's one of those things that you can do. It takes some work, and it takes consistency. And one of the words that you used repeatedly was deliberate. And I think that is
intentional,
important.
deliberate.
Deliberately intentional for you to be able to do this. So guys, here you heard it on the Author's Lane from Miss Jodi Santangelo-Ash. Santangelo, oh my gosh. Jodi, I do that to her all the time, but she's my friend, so she forgives me.
Of course.
It's Jodi Santangelo-Ash, the author of Dynamic Affirmations. Please go to Amazon, get the book. It's going to be a blessing to you. It is going to be inspirational. It's going to help you. And right now, I love books that get you to that next level. And this is one of those books. And Jodi, I always talk to, my final question is always about the review that you receive from readers. How often, not how often, how do you take a review from a reader?
Well, so reviews are really, really important, and it lets us know whether were we on track? Did I really help somebody? Or the other thing is, if there was something that was missing, it could help you write in the next book, right? So the thing is to always be open to feedback, which we well know. And, you know, that was my first book. I did the best I could. People might find some things in there that don't work for them, or, you know, we welcome all kinds of feedback. But if it has helped, then, you know, we'd love to know that too, because it's just really fulfilling to know that we have, you know, touched somebody's life, right? And if you and I can turn our life around, everybody can.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's just one person at a time.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So guys, here you have it on the Author's Lane, Dynamic Affirmations with Miss Jodi Santangelo-Ash. We are so excited that you stopped by to share this information with us. Thank you so much. I know it is going to help a lot of individuals, and they're going to go to Amazon, right? You're going to go to Amazon. You're going to get this book, and you are going to allow it to do what it's intended to do. And then you're going to come back to Amazon and write a review, because that's what we want, right?
Very
That's
cool.
what we want. So guys, have a fabulous time. Remember, join us every day, Tuesday through Friday at 3 p.m. for the Author's Lane. And then at 8 p.m., get this, at 8 p.m., we're going to do this again, and you are going to get to ask questions. Now, that's where the experience truly comes in. So you get to hear answers directly from the author. And so take advantage of that opportunity. So now you no longer have to look on the back of the book and go, who is that person? You know now. So there's a connection. So definitely join us again. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Thank you so much, my friend Jodi. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys have a fabulous, fabulous day.
Thank you to you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.